Hello everyone, welcome to Happy Science Meditation Seminar. I'm Bobby Mai, Minister of Happy Science. Thank you for coming today. Today's subject is try to praise yourself more. Before starting, let us recite Prayer to the Lord together. Prayer to the Lord. Our Lord, El Cantare, you are the source of all light, all power, all wisdom, and all love. May you give us light, give us power, give us wisdom, and give us love. O Lord, our Father, please protect this planet of earth. Protect us from all evil, and open a future for us. O Lord, thank you for giving us light. We give thanks from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you for joining us today. This week, we will study the laws of hope. Chapter 1. Try to praise yourself more. Because of the corona pandemic, many people are suffering from depression by quarantine or financial issue. This chapter will give you the hints to recover from depression. Firstly, we'll watch Master Oka's lecture titled Try to Praise Yourself More. Please watch.
I have entitled today's lecture, Praise Yourself a Little More. This is a very interesting subject that I have never dealt with before. The reason why I have chosen this title is that today's society is so competitive and stressful that depression has become prevalent in every walk of life. This has been particularly true during the economic turndown of the last 10 years, with people losing confidence in themselves, worrying, becoming melancholic, and depressed. This situation has continued now for a long time. As depression has spread throughout society, we have seen the number of suicides increasing. Depression can have various adverse effects on people, both physically and mentally. I think that it warps and distorts society itself, becoming a source of great pain. When a person becomes depressed, they tend to see only their negative side. They say, everything is working against me. I see that it has been always like this for me from the beginning. If they look back over their past, they can find any number of negative factors, and even their current lives seem to be full of things that appear bad. It is fine if they reflect on themselves properly, but if they do it in the wrong way, it will simply make them feel worse. So, they need to look at life in a different way. For that reason, I decided to give a talk entitled, Praise Yourself a Little More. A change in a person's environment can often lead to depression. The different surroundings act as a trigger. Marriage is an event that should bring great joy, but some people disappear the day before the service. They find they cannot bear the pressure. They become scared and run away just before the wedding is due to take place. It is very difficult for somebody who has lived on their own to have to suddenly be with somebody else all the time. It is natural for them to experience pressure. Some people can handle living with a new partner, but the arrival of children can drive them to depression. The birth of a child is a huge step. A child is like some unknown creature that will not do anything it is told. It moves around, cries, makes demands, is hungry, and becomes sick. So, some people get depressed soon after having children. Promotion can also cause depression. When a person is working as a lowly office clerk, he may complain that he will never be able to advance his career, but should he suddenly be given a promotion and told that he will become a section chief with 8 people under him, he will fall into depression. He doesn't know how to manage his subordinates or what kind of abilities are required. He will be at a loss to understand how he can get his section to work efficiently, and this can lead to depression. In this way, changes in a person's personal environment, such as promotion, that are thought to lead to the person's development, can actually drive them into depression. This is nearly always due to a fear of things that they have not experienced before, and it sometimes leads to depression. There are things that deserve praise, success that brings applause from those around you. However, these can also cause worry and prevent you from believing in yourself. They can cause you pain and stop you from sleeping at night. They are 2 sides of the same coin. They are like a samurai sword which has a sharp side and a blunt side. If you do not accept these risks, you will never become a success nor be praised by others. We are currently living in what is known as a competitive society, where the strong flourish and the weak are trodden underfoot. This means that depression, in part, is due to the stress of being a loser. Naturally, people think, wouldn't it be good if the competitive society were to disappear and be replaced by one in which everybody is equal? There would be no more stress, no more depression. However, if this were to happen, it would result in decadence. People would stagnate, become depraved, and their souls would become corrupt. What it boils down to is a choice between depression and depravity. You may think, I have been unable to succeed in a competitive society. But surely that is better than becoming depraved. It is better than decadence and degeneration. It always feels good to be praised by others. In Happy Science, we preach that you should use the right words to praise others and give love through speaking kindly. Despite this, there is still a shortage of people who speak kindly and give love to others. If you feel there is a shortage of people who compliment you, once in a while, you should try praising yourself instead. There are various ways of looking at things, but you are the one who knows you best. So you should try changing your viewpoint slightly. You may think you are no good because you are inferior to others or because you could not achieve the goal that you set, but you should change the way you look at things slightly. You have developed a lot since primary school. You may worry now that your life is no good, but when you were a teenager, your main worry had been that you would never be able to marry. At least you have managed to marry, and compared to how you were, you deserve to be praised. Again, even though you may think your wife is no good, you should praise yourself for being able to support her. People who worry that their children are no good should realize how laudable they are for having managed to bring them up. Somebody who still remains a clerk at the age of 60 should praise themselves for retaining an enthusiasm for work after so many years. They should be proud that they have not suffered from any illness during the course of their career. So, if you cannot receive praise from others, you should make efforts to praise yourself. When you feel that a negative image is becoming dominant, think positively and adjust the balance. This theory is shared by modern medicine too. When treating a depressed person, they say to him, have an unbiased image of yourself. Do not think only of your negative aspects, but focus on the positive. In other words, you should offer yourself a little praise now and again. Another thing that can be done by people who only think negatively is to visit the temples of branches of happy science and practice meditation, thinking of nothing. People like this have their heads filled with pessimistic thoughts, and so they need to practice emptying their minds. In the beginning, I doubt whether they will be able to last 5 minutes without thinking of anything. So in the beginning, we recommend that they listen to the sound of flowing water, wind, bird song, or even meditation music and focus on this. The important thing is to abandon all extraneous thoughts. You should praise yourself occasionally, while ridding yourself of distracting thoughts and achieving a state of egolessness. Stop thinking negative thoughts and achieve a peaceful mind. If you do all this, you will recognize your true state as a being with Buddha nature, and will be able to choose the right road to walk and to evaluate yourself positively. I would like you all to achieve this.
How was Master Oka's lecture? Master Okawa suggested that we should try to praise ourselves more to recover from depression. That means we should have a bright, constructive, and positive self-image. So, how should we do this? To achieve this, it is important to create an air that hints at good things having happened. Cultivate the habit of looking for joy and searching for the seeds of success in the smallest things, and thus create a bright atmosphere around you. Even if you have worries, you can change your mind with one small idea. For example, try buying a new tie, and when you do, make sure that it is of much better quality than you are used to wearing, and that it is red or bright color. Or you could try eating out a very exclusive restaurant that you have never been to, having a new suit made or buying some new shoes. In this way, it is important to devise ways to raise your spirits by adapting new experiences. To create an air of success is a way of ensuring that you will not become the victim of others. In the final analysis, when people try to demean you, the fault lies with yourself, not with them. If you are easily hurt by others' words, it is because you are exaggerate their importance in your mind. But there are people who can let others' negative remarks pass by without any fuss. This is because have confidence in themselves. On the other hand, those who agree with the criticism others are making will find it has pierced their heart deeply and they cannot remove it. From this, you will be able to see just how important it is to have a bright, positive image of yourself. You must work to create a bright aura around you. You can start by adding some change into your daily life. Then, once you have succeeded in doing this, you can go on to the next step and try to act positively. Moreover, you should make a point of praising others people. Those who are in despair rarely praise others. At least, I have never met anybody who does this. When people are in despair, they only look at their own miserable self-image. They are incapable of noticing other people, and even if they receive praise from others, they accept it only as flattery and are caught up in their miserable self-image. It is at such times that you should turn your gaze outward. Try to find others' good points and compliment them. If you see something good in others, then tell them how marvelous they are. If you eat something good, say how delicious it is. By actively expressing a positive attitude in this way, acknowledging what is good as good, you will find that a way opens for you. So these kinds of people who believe that others are victimizing them are typical of those suffering from the unhappy syndrome. They need to work to change themselves with positive attitude rather than trying to change other people. This is essential. The same is true of people who worry about their lack of formal education. There are people who, when they are criticized by others, put it down to their lack of academic qualifications. But they need to realize that there is more to it. This truth is just because they do not possess a high opinion of themselves due to their lack of education. They become vulnerable to other people's criticism. There are many number of people in this world who have excelled despite having only a very rudimentary education. People who always feel hurt by others do so only because they rate themselves low due to their lack of educational background. Therefore, they need to develop the ability to be able to win praise from others despite their lack of education and create actual achievements. As a result of making these efforts, you will no longer be victimized by others. To sum up, people who believe that it's always others who are standing in their way will find that the path will never open before them. On the other hand, those who accept responsibility for themselves and courageously try to change themselves will find that a way will open up for them. Today, let us practice meditation of light. The purpose of the meditation of light is for you in third dimension to return to the original state as child of God. Even though the humans are originally children of light, separated from God, and in its true nature no different from God, they often forget their true nature, make mistakes repeatedly in delusion, and become a miserable existence, unable to return to light ever again. Alcantara is trying to extend the helping hand to such miserable people in third dimension. This helping hand, after all, is also a signal telling people in delusion to head toward him. The humans originally are bright existence and have light inside. However, when they started to seek light only outside of them and forgot their inner light, a pain and a great sorrow began. Therefore, I want you to wholeheartedly take an attitude of great respect and a sense of awe toward the light residing inside yourself, the light that radiates from the depth part of your own mind. First, I would like to start by telling you about what the most urgently necessary thing for the humans to do is. It seems that the humans, since their birth in the third dimension, lead their life groping blindly, and as a result, getting a variety of scratches, grays, and cuts. With their attention kept at those cuts and scratches, they are losing sight of their noble inside shining brightly. What's important is not to overly look at one's own evilness. When one overly looks at this dark side, this should be projected in the eyes at the dark world. However, for those who can find the light leaking in the darkness no longer the darkness. The darkness is projected in the eyes as a real existence because one believes that darkness exists at the darkness. From now on, you in this world mustn't fear the darkness. The darkness is only a lack of light. What it means is the world sunk in darkness because the mind of God in each person's mind hid itself. When you think of light, God also is inside of you. When your mind lost light, God is no longer with you any longer. It can be described as hiding behind. As such, the difference between watching darkness only and watching light when looking deeply in one's mind makes difference between the people in this world looking at God and looking at devils underground. Even if a torch light is raised in front of you, the world will not become any brighter as long as you keep looking at the darkness spreading over by both sides of the torch light. Now let us start the meditation. Firstly, let us recite prayer to guardian and guiding spirit. Prayer to guardian and guiding spirits. My guardian and guiding spirits, deep inside of me, you are the fountain of life, the light of hope, the source of wisdom, and the shield of courage. Every day, may you help me develop my soul and refine my mind. Every day, may you give me inspiration and show me the right path to follow. Please protect me from all evil and guide me in living a better life. For this, I give my thanks. Now let us start the meditation.
Let's begin the meditation of light. The intent of this meditation is for you to look at the bright side of matters. As I also wrote in my book, Meditation on Happiness, in general, there is no one in heaven who is gloomy. Not one person in heaven has a dreary disposition. Take this to heart. So if you wish to know whether you would go to heaven or hell, ask yourself if you are a negative person or not. If your answer is yes, then automatically you know your destination. Angels in heaven are not immune to suffering or sorrow. They too can experience them from time to time, but it is from the hardships that they encounter in doing their task. They feel pain or sorrow, but they are not negative. So if you have a strong feeling that your present self or past self might be dark or murky in color, you should realize that you are inclined to go to a dark place. To overcome this disposition, you need to make the effort to shine. You can counter your tendency by making a deliberate effort to shine. This meditation of light is in fact another version of meditation to know contentment. Lessening your desires so that you would be satisfied with your present situation may be one way of knowing contentment. But perhaps your present situation is not as bad as you thought it to be. In fact, you could be standing on high ground. To know contentment, you may say to yourself, stop aiming so high when your abilities are so limited. But you can also say, don't underestimate yourself too much. You are actually on higher ground than you thought. You might think, I am still at the foot of the mountain and have an entire mountain to climb. I have no confidence, no stamina to conquer the summit. However, in the meditation of light, you will find that you are not at the foot of the mountain, but have already climbed up to a very high altitude. You will realize that you are already very blessed and that your life is full of brilliance. If you feel that every day of your year was a rainy day, then you have a gloomy disposition. Certainly, in countries like Japan, the rainy season comes around every year, but when it's over, we all soon forget about it, don't we? But if it feels to you that the rainy season is lasting all year long, then I must say that it is a very pitiful mind inclination. Methods of self-reflection, such as the Noble Eightfold Path, is not complete without a process such as the meditation of light. You cannot say that you have finished your self-reflection unless you see the side that shines with light. Simply gazing at the darkness in yourself and trying to remove it will not fulfill the purpose of self-reflection. Only when you recognize the light that you overlooked can you say that you have self-reflected in the true sense of the word. In this sense, the meditation of light compensates for the weakness of conventional forms of self-reflection. Human beings blindly grope their way through life and get scratched and scarred in many ways. Their mind becomes preoccupied with their scars and wounds, and they lose sight of their noble, shining inner nature. So the important thing is not to gaze too much at your past mistakes or wrongdoings. How you evaluate your wounds is very crucial in keeping a positive mindset. Those who have a strong sense of unhappiness focus on their wounds a lot. They see it to be bigger than it really is. Their wound could be nothing but a mere scratch that would heal spontaneously if left alone. The interpretation here is that darkness is merely the absence of light. Perhaps you may feel you are worthless when you look back at your past. Nevertheless, you surely have some brilliance in you. You must sufficiently search and discover this shining part. Otherwise, you will end up blaming your environment or other people. This tendency does inevitably appear, so you must be able to overcome it by yourself without troubling others. What you can solve, you have to solve for yourself. The main goal of the meditation of light is to overcome your inferiority complex. This is the cause of a lot of your suffering. Over 90% of people, or perhaps even everyone, suffer immensely from feelings of inferiority. Their insecurities bleed afresh when the wound is opened. What can heal it is neither drug nor bandage, but spiritual practice to recognize your inner light. This practice is what heals your mental wounds. Now let's practice the meditation of light. Please put your mind at ease. You don't have to feel so grave about today's practice. We will do this in 3 parts, each for 5 minutes. Then please sit tall with your back straight. Close your eyes gently and harmonize your breathing. The first meditation of light will focus on the period since the time of your birth until the age of about 12, when you finished elementary school. This period can also be further subdivided into 2 parts. The first is the time before you started school, maybe at around the age of 6, and the second is the time during your school days from 1st to 6th grade. Now recall an image of yourself when you shone most brilliantly during this time. Remember the image of the moment you were wonderful, even in your eyes today, an image that perhaps you have forgotten now. Please start the meditation. Now we will move on to the next phase.
2番目に入ります。
The practice is the same. This time, we will work on the period between when you were aged 12 to 18. The first half is when you were in middle school or junior high. The second is when you were in high school.
学生時代、
During these times at school,
学校で
in these times of learning,
この頃にすでに皆さん
you must have experienced the blossoming of your soul.
こんなものがあったはずです。この
During your middle and high school age,
実は自分の一
the
番
best part of yourself
すでに出て
must have appeared already.
一番光っている面
Your most brilliant qualities were already shining
で
through.
はこの前半後半に
Now let's look back at the days when you were 12 to 18 years old.
の自分というものを振り返ってみてください。その中で
Discover the splendid,
素晴らしい
shining self from that
経
period.
験してみてください。
Now we move onward to the third phase. This is now dealing with your life after age 18. Some of you may have started working in society, while others continued on to higher learning. Self-examination now is about yourself after you joined as a member of society. Some of you may have gotten married and started a family. Others may have taken up a job and started their professional life. Please discover yourself shining brightly during this time, a moment when you were radiating light and sincerely proud of your innate talent lighting up the world. Remember this genuine figure of yourself. Search for and gaze for a while at the most shining image of yourself after 18 years of age till now. Now please finish your meditation.
目を開けてください。
Please open your eyes and return to a relaxed position. I see many people crying, despite this being a meditation on gazing at the light within ourselves.
まあ別に笑ってる
I am not laughing at you. It is all right to cry and shed
な
tears.
ぜ涙が出
Do
る
you know why you are shedding tears?
それは
It is
素
because
晴らしい自分と
this meditation reminds us of the splendid self that we had long forgotten
いうことを
or
知るわ
overlooked.
けですね。で
This meditation of light is based on positive thinking
そう
and may look the very opposite of the idea of self-reflection. But it actually brings about a similar effect as that of self-reflection. When you discover the shining self in you, you would feel that something must be wrong with your present state of mind
現在の自分の心境を考えてみて、
and wonder
ああしまったな、
how you have lost that beautiful self.
どこにやってしまったかなとこう思われるんですね。
Then automatically you start having the same effect as that you would have after self-reflection.
そんなもんなんですね。
The meditation of light and the meditation on happiness might seem the same to you.
しませんが、
I would say that the difference between these two is that the meditation of light focuses more on the brilliance of your soul,
神聖、
or in other words, on your Buddha nature or divine nature.
中心に見ていくんですね。自分自
You
身
look at the beauty of your soul and at the splendid side of yourself.
見ていくのがこの光の瞑想です。
It means that this meditation makes you know and believe in the true nature of yourself as a child of God.
知って信じるのがこの光の瞑想ですね。
The meditation on happiness focuses more on the various events and incidents in your life
見ていくんですね。
to see that you have actually been blessed
中心に見ていく。
with the fruits of happiness on countless
幸せ
occasions.
ないろんな結果を享受していたんだ。そういう自分であったんだということを知るのが、
This is the difference of these two
このよう
meditations.
な違いがあります。
How was the meditation? I will give you the message from Alcantara. Don't call yourself as a child of sin, looking at the darkness in your mind. Do not treat yourself as nothing. Think yourself as a valuable person and as a being full of light. Each of you, a torch in the darkness. But it seems to be extinguished because of the false self shutting out the inner light of your own. Remove your false self, and the light will be appeared. Seek for the light inside of you. Once you look into deep inside your mind, you will encounter the huge light that cannot be covered by any darkness. Obtaining this light is a discovery of your divine self. That is your true self. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'll see you next week. Same time, same way. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you. See you then.